Hey guys, MD Gaming here, and today we're talking about the American Cruiser Tier 5 Pensacola. We're going to be using Norman Scott as our commander. Basically, we're going to use him because his shell grouping ability base rate is amazing, with Mbeli for reload, and also Ding Rochong for reload as well. We're going to do Beyond Range to increase our range by 10%, Igniter to increase our HE damage. We're also going to do Armed and Ready for increased fire dispersion, and along with a warning indicator. Again, Fixated for the dispersion and shell grouping, and then Refill Station for main battery reload, and if I'm close to an enemy, longer range. So let's jump into the game so you guys can see the gameplay. Now the Pensacola is a pretty unique ship. It has great velocity of shells and great grouping and very strong AP damage, but with all those greats, there's cons. And so some of the cons on this ship is going to be that it has a high citadel with weak armor, so you can get citadel pretty easily, along with very slow turret traverse and very slow maneuverability, so it's not a kiting type of ship. Sometimes people build spec into turret traverse. I'd actually kind of recommend that. My build right now for Norman Scott is more geared towards my Cleveland. I just don't want to pay the money Commander XP to swap them, but build them out however you want. The Pensacola can do fine no matter which way you kind of build it. But again, you got to remember it is very citadel prone, and so you really got to try to keep your distance in order to mitigate that effect. The further away, the more the dispersion of enemy shells, the higher chance you'll survive. Now when you're playing this type of ship, what you kind of want to do is you want to stay behind your battleships. You can see in the upper left hand corner on my mini map, I have that battleship still within my range. They give me that 10% range increase. I'm going to try to keep them in that circle as much as possible so I can basically have that ability to use. But as you saw, like, I was turning just a little bit and the turrets could not keep up. So it's a huge issue. Luckily the Torrento is going to pull out. Anytime a cruiser pulls out and you're in this Pensacola, you need to be firing American AP. They have strong, sticky angles. They can penetrate in Citadel at most angles that other ships cannot. And as you can see, this Torrento just kind of stuck broadside, and we're just going to punish them for it. And lo and behold, classic MD gaming style, I'm going to run right into an island. If I'm not running into an island, I haven't played a real game yet. So I'm still trying to focus on this Torrento. Luckily, that Congo isn't really paying that much attention to me. I'm focused on by two people, so I want to make sure I'm trying to angle as much as possible while trying to knock this Torrento off the board. Again, the Congo's not shooting me anymore. It's the other battleship. Maybe we'll get those two citadels and knock them off the board. And now my focus is going to be trying to set fires on the Congo, just because he is not at an angle where the Pensacola AP can really be effective. And you really need to understand, when you're playing the Pensacola, you don't want to be broadside. You don't want to give even the slightest bit of angle to any battleships, because there is a strong chance that you will be citadeled. So we're just trying to escape the sight of both battleships, get behind an island, and then be able to start fires. And you'll witness, if you're not building into the turret, you're just going to turn a little bit, and that turret speed of the Pensacola is so difficult. It is not a close quarters cruiser. If you are anywhere close to like within 10 kilometers and you don't have a turret traverse build in the Pensacola, you're just not going to be effective at close ranges. It's just not possible. The turret traverse is so slow that you'd be giving up the angles of the ships that you'll need to survive for one or two shots. And that is the major flaw of the Pensacola. But when playing at the range and utilizing it at its strength, even the littlest turns, you'll still have to wait for the turrets to traverse. But you'll be in a really good position to not wait as long, because the angles of which the turrets have to move at long distances is shorter. But as you can see, all my turrets are unable to fire. So I'm really actually just trying to turn as hard as I can in order to get my turret in the front to be able to fire, so I can get some shots in. it's the strongest weakness of the Pensacola, and you really should be building into a traverse type of build, not a reload build, because it doesn't really need a reload build. It's just what I had for my commander. But at distances against battleships, the HE is strong. It'll do really good damage. You can also do AP if you want. If you attack the superstructure, it'll still do strong damage, but I prefer the tri-set fires to do damage over time. But as you can see, playing behind my enemy friendly battleship, and the reason why you want to play close to your friendly battleships or behind your friendly battleships is if you're a cruiser all alone, right, then the enemy is going to try to focus fire on you a lot more. But if you're close to a battleship, usually the battleship, just because it is a battleship, will take some focus off of people trying to shoot you. And that's going to be very beneficial as a Pensacola, because you don't have the turret reverse speed. You don't have the maneuverability to avoid those shots. And if you're not doing that, then you're just going to get shot and knocked off the board. So sticking close to your teammate is very important. I got a little too close to the Hyuga. My apologies, buddy. But by staying close to him, I'm going to be able to utilize Norman Scott's legendary skill, Refill Station, adding that 10% range to all my attacks. And the other bonus is the Hyuga, or any battleship that you act with, normally acts as a moving shield, because the enemy is going to focus fire on him, allowing you more freedom of maneuver to get into positions to where you can lay fire on the battleships and citadel the cruisers. Now, a strong advantage of some cruisers, they have these spotter aircraft, so when you go behind an island, if you call them, sometimes they can spot the enemy and you'll be able to fire behind the island. So that's my hope right now. I'm slowing down to use this island as cover while trying to, hopefully my spotter plane will find the Congo and I'll be able to shoot him. The enemy had the same exact idea. They called their spotter plane in. I moved a little bit forward, so now the Congo can see me, and now he has his guns focused on me. So since I know he's focused on me, I'm turning into the Congo to eliminate his ability for his shots to really do any damage to me. If they do hit the front, they always have a chance of citadeling, but the skinnier target is much harder to hit. Even though he can't see me, that spotter plane that's in the air is really focused on me, so him and the Queen Elizabeth were both focused on me. But a spotter plane is only good for like 30-40 seconds, so I now have the advantage because my spotter plane is still in the air for another 40 seconds. So trying to get some shots off, but again, an island in the way. If you look right next to the timer telling me how to reload, you have those two mountains. Those two mountains will tell you whether your shots can reach over an island or not. So most cases it is very helpful because they'll let you know when you can fire and when you can't fire in order for it to be a successful hit. But that's not 100% correct, because sometimes you can still fire at an enemy behind cover. It doesn't take into account all the guns, and sometimes the trajectory of dispersion will get over the mountain when it wasn't suspecting that it could go over the mountain. But like auto aim, it is a great tool to use. It is something that you should look into paying attention to, because it's going to allow you to pick your targets better and not waste your shots. So I have this Congo that's going broadside to me, so I'm going to fire at him, and I'm not going to go right below where would you go in a battleship at the waterline meets the torpedo belt. You're going to go the upper belt, so that's where the armor is weakest. So and since I'm in Pensacola, my caliber is not as strong as a battleship, and that's where I'm going to do the most damage. So here I'm switching over into HE to start fires. I do see that the Queen Elizabeth is again going broadside to me. So again, I'm going to aim at that upper belt on that Queen Elizabeth because I'm within that 5-kilometer range. And then hopefully I can get some penetration and get some good damage. So see, 4,000, 4 penetrations. It's what's so great about the Pensacola. You just gotta make sure you're aiming at the right spot. You aim too low, like you see right here. I'm hoping that I'm gonna get some hits. I got 2 penetrations and 6 shots. I also opened myself up too much. I was able to turn in a little bit to allow myself the ability to mitigate some damage, but not all of it. I'm not going to chase the Queen Elizabeth because it would put me too close. So my goal now is to let the Huga finish off the Queen Elizabeth, and then I will focus fire on the California at distance. So right now it's the Huga, myself, another battleship who I don't know, and then a cruiser on our side, and then the California, 2 Californias on their side at B. I'm gonna keep on trying to fire at them. I don't have that mountain symbol like we were talking about, so if I keep shooting at him now and I can start fires, it's gonna be extremely beneficial. And another benefit to trying to focus on enemies that you can see from a distance is, as you can see, I'm resetting his capture ability of our cap. This is going to prevent them from gaining points. So as we keep gaining 2 points, they're gaining nothing. So in all worst case scenario, if one of us were alive at the end of the match, it would go down to points and just be better for us. I was hoping the cruiser could still spot him so I could lay down fire, but I was unable. So now I'm hoping that I can probably spot him by going in reverse. I got 2 fires on him. They're going to be permanent fires. They'll just keep burning. And now he's just going to be outside my range if I were to try to fire. So I decided to wait a little bit, wait to see if he can turn a little bit more back into my fire, and then fire at him. And that's the thing you got to do as a Pensacola player. You got to choose when it is a good time to fire. Sometimes it's better to be patient with your shots than just to fire every single time your rounds are available, because ultimately that's going to cause you to like increase your rounds that you're firing, but not increase your damage per minute. It's actually going to hurt it. So I call in my aircraft to hopefully spot the other California, but the other California is trying to find me too. So knowing that he's going to focus fire on me because I have the spotted at 1, I throw myself in reverse trying to miss his first shots. It actually pays off because all the shots land just short. And so now I'm going to try to focus all my fires on the California. This is a terrible spot to be in on any cruiser. Some cruisers have the ability to go broadside against Californias at this distance, or really battleships at this distance, and they overpen. I don't think the Pensacola has that, and I'm not ready to face the risk of that. I want to try to get some fires on him before I die, so I increase the damage and help my team out before ultimately I'm gonna die, because he's just too close. You can see I miraculously survived with 740 damage, HP left. Hopefully the Texas and Hugo can destroy the California themselves. I get 1 fire on them and I'm attacking. And again, like I'm saying, like, you don't want to be like this in the position with the Pensacola. You want to be 11 kilometers out, shooting with your good trajectory, strong AP and HE, and just doing tons of damage. Luckily, I was fine because time was running out. We had enough points, so the game ended before I died. But if he had the ability to shoot one more time, I definitely would have killed. But luckily, that was not the case this time. And this is what you should be doing as a Pensacola player. But at the end, because I was able to play distance, use the Huga as an effective distraction, I was able to get 153,000 total damage with 275,000 credits, and my XP was at 3,946. And with that, thank you so much for watching my gameplay. I hope you guys either learned something or had a good time watching my channel. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you guys would like and subscribe to my channel, but what I care about more is your feedback. So please leave a comment below on what you liked and what you didn't like on the video. The goal of these videos are to teach and show how fun this game really can be while improving the community that's playing it. Thank you guys so much again. MD Gaming, out.